Hi, Darren. Welcome to Funnel Vision Podcast. I'm excited to have you on today.
Hi, Elana. Thank you for having me. I'm excited as well.
Well, perfect. Jumping right in. What is like your number one tactic or, thing that you rely on to build really strong client relationships?
Well, it depends on the business itself and what type of sales process or sales cycle you have, right? Some are more transactional than others. But I think most people buy off those that they like and trust. So I always make it a point to get to know my clients on a personal level, what their experiences have been, why are they doing what they do, some of their accomplishments. And I try to learn from them as well because they can be a very, very good resource. But I think, the thing that's really important for sales reps and myself as well is that every time you have a client interaction, you want to bring value.
Mhm.
I've been on the road with many sales reps and we'll do some pre-call planning and I'll ask, okay, what's the strategy? What's the objective for this call? And they'll say, well, we're just going in to say hi and see how things are going. And that's not a really good strategy, right? You really need to go and provide value at every moment that you can, because the competition is calling on your customers as well, right? So if they don't see you as somebody that can provide value, then they may decide to go somewhere else. So make sure you educate, provide value every time that you have that client interaction.
Yeah, I think that's a amazing answer and absolutely. And like you said before that, getting to know the person, like understanding like where they came from, how they got from where they were to where they are now, and understanding kind of a little bit of their journey helps you, plan and be able
Sure.
to provide, kind of something in each and
Yeah.
every touch point. It doesn't always have to be, I found, like even necessarily like completely related to business or
Hmm.
to anything, but just kind of providing that value, understanding them, and deepening the relationship. um and the more you know about the person, the better you'll be able to provide that value and
Yeah, and
as
it
well.
happens over time, right? It doesn't happen overnight. So the longer you go along, like you said, and get to know them. Hopefully, they get to know you, and you just build that relationship over time.
Yeah, absolutely agree. What do you think is like is there a piece of advice that you've been given in the past that has really like resonated with you and changed your approach and something that you think about over time?
Yeah, probably the biggest thing for me was to be curious. Probably one of my mentors told me that right at the beginning. If you're curious, naturally curious, you're going to do very, very well in sales, and that's something that I've seen over time myself dealing with salespeople. The ones who are the most curious tend to be the ones who are most successful because they want to know what is really going on with the business. They they're almost obsessed with knowing what's going on within the industry, competition. They know their product and service inside and out. And probably a rep superpower is probably asking open-ended questions. One of the things I've seen very often is, a rep will say, "So, do you have any questions? Do you have any concerns?" And I find myself sometimes doing that as well. But if you ask open-ended questions and you're really curious, that can really start the discussion and the interaction that you're looking for. So, you can ask something like, "Well, we spent a lot of time on this, particular feature. Where do you see it fitting into your business? Who do you see can take advantage of this particular feature? Would love your feedback on our discussion instead of asking, do you have any concerns?" Right. So, to me, being naturally curious and asking open ended questions has been a game changer for me. And I've seen it with the reps that I've coached.
Yeah. And what you've said there, true, like resonates because it's asking the questions, but asking them in that right way,
Yeah.
right? Like using the right, like asking open-ended questions, asking like, kind of questions where you're kind of prompting that person to think in the way that you want them to think, or kind of
Mhm.
like leaning towards that. So I think it's, yes, knowing how to ask the right questions and continually asking questions is so important. We see that in recruiting when we're recruiting and interviewing salespeople. we are looking for those people to ask questions, right? At the end of an interview with the salesperson, like I don't want to hear like, nope, don't have any questions, because that really shows a lot about, like, is this person going to be a curious person? And like those
Sure.
are the things that we really like look for. So I definitely agree and think that that makes sense and resonates.
And in an interview, if you're a salesperson interviewing for a sales role, you should try to close, right? So if the recruiter or interviewer is asking you questions and you've asked those questions and they're asking, okay, is there anything else? I'd ask, okay, when do I start? Right? Try to close it on the spot. I mean, you're interviewing for a sales role. Show them that you can do that.
Yeah, I love that. And I have clients as well that are they're looking for those things. So like, are you
Mm.
trying to close?
Right.
And do you follow up?
Yeah.
That's, one of those things where like we're looking for candidates, for sales candidates
Mm.
specifically, to are they going to send a follow-up email after the interview? Are they going to follow up?
Yeah.
It's important. It's important.
Well, for sure.
Yeah. What is, AI is the new thing, right? It's with us to stay. It's here for the long term. How do you see AI, changing the game in the future of sales? And do you have any like advice on, how to incorporate AI into the process?
Well, AI is very overwhelming now because it's moving so quickly, right? And I kind of remember back in the late '90s when the internet was first started growing, and I remember having conversations with people back then, and the debate was, do I really need to invest thousands of dollars into a website? Remember those days?
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, so I kind of look at it that AI is very similar to what we were looking at back then. And for AI, it's a great tool for sales reps to use for research, top of the funnel type of activities. I don't think it will ever replace a salesperson, but it's a good tool, and those who are using those tools and being more confident with those tools, I think will get ahead. And the really interesting part is when we're building our sales playbooks using AI. So we're building custom sales playbooks for different organizations using AI. And when you start educating the language models and you're putting all your information into the AI, what reps can do now out in the field is simply amazing. They can go out in the field, do their pre-call planning, and then talk to an AI agent and ask them, okay, this is my particular market segment. This is the type of customer I'm going to visit today. What kind of questions shall I ask? What type of questions? What are some of their pain points? What are some objections I might hear? And then you could also schedule some role playing with the AI agent, which is really neat. So you can do some role playing, and then the sales manager can access those recordings and then put some coaching on top of that as well. So I find that fascinating to be able to do that in the field in your car with an AI agent and just helping you prepare more for that conversation with a customer. So it's yeah, it's only going to help. It's only going to help. I mean, we've had technology, this type of technology for a while with CRM, and now AI is being implicated into the CRM to help reps with those mundane tasks like follow up and outreach and that sort of thing. But the really fascinating and exciting stuff for me is the AI agent and how AI agents can help the sales reps with their pre-call planning and coaching.
Yeah, that's so cool. It is. It's really interesting. It's really cool. But just to see that, like, where you could, like you said, for like top of the funnel,
Yeah.
for training, for coaching, for gathering information and research and doing those mundane tasks,
Yeah.
absolutely, I think AI is a game changer. But we don't want our clients talking to AI. Like, we want our clients talking to humans. And I think
Sure.
like that's like the important part, in sales, and of course, for us in sales and in recruiting, is to keep that human element, but use what AI is giving us, as far as like help to prep, to plan,
Yeah.
to, do those things, maybe to it can help put proposal together quicker than
Yeah.
you can, but using it to kind of get that information to better the process, but keeping that human element, because AI is not going to be a relationship builder. They're
No.
not going to, kind of take that spot, which is so important in sales.
And AI now is not perfect either. I mean, I've got an example where I booked some office space for a venue that I was for an event, and I called this company, and within about 20 to 30 seconds, I realized I was speaking with an AI person. I thought it was a real person at first, but then it was an AI agent, and they said, "Yeah, your booking is confirmed." And I got a text message, but something didn't feel right. My spidey senses were tingling, so I called back, and I also visited the venue space, and of course they didn't have any record of my booking. So good thing that I actually went down there, but it is not perfect. There's still some kinks with AI, so you definitely have to review what you've put into the language models, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, which one you're using. There still has to be some human interaction for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. What do you think is something that a salesperson should stop doing if they want to be more successful?
Talking. I know that's a weird answer, but I think a lot of sales reps talk too much. They need to stop and listen, and listen more. I've seen too many salespeople ruin their chances of closing because they just oversell and they over talk, and they just don't let the customer ask questions and have that discussion. Right? It's not a one-way street. So my advice to sales reps out there is minimize the amount of time you're speaking, ask open-ended questions, and let your prospect and customer do the majority of the talking. And that way there you'll uncover all your opportunities and you'll be able to close a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things where it's so simple, but it's not that easy, right? It's something that you really have to work
Yeah.
at, and I know a lot of sales reps like to talk. And
Because
it's
that's what
important.
we do, right? Every day we talk, we present,
Yeah,
we talk
yeah.
to
So
people, we shake hands at networking events, whatever it is. We're always presenting, and it's very difficult to slow down a little bit and let the prospect talk.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. But it is absolutely key. So I agree with you.
Yeah.
Um, we talked a little bit before about, recruiting and finding top tier sales talent and things that you look for. Do you have any strategies or kind of something that you look for or go to when you are recruiting sales talent to make sure that that person is, a true, hunter go-getter? What do you look for?
Well, as you know, it's very difficult to find top talent nowadays, and probably even more difficult to have them stay. So the first thing that a business needs to do is you have to make sure that, number one, I'm going to assume that you're selling a high value quality product or service, that you've got a good reputation, you've got good customer service. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of businesses don't have compensation plans that align very well, or they don't incentivize the right behaviors. So that's something that you also have to look for. So you want to have a competitive compensation plan. You want to make sure your onboarding is also in place, so you have a good well structured onboarding program. So if I assume that all of that is taken care of, in terms of finding top talent, the thing for me is I always rely on my network. Um, Networking is extremely important. The more people you meet, the more opportunities you're going to get out there. So you can get a lot of interesting connections who can refer you some top-notch talent. And if you're a sales leader, you own that piece. Even if your company has internal recruiters working for you or external recruiters, you can't rely on them. You have to go out there and build your bench. So my advice to sales leaders is every week you should be doing some sort of activity to identify interesting candidates. Even if you don't have any openings right now, talk to people and say, look, you never know. We may be expanding. We may have an opening in 6 months to a year. You never know. Have that conversation so that if you do have an opening or a rep leaves, make sure that you have a pipeline of candidates. It's like selling, right? You should have a candidate pipeline. So
Hmm.
that's something that I've always, teached and trained my sales managers is to always be recruiting on a
Yeah.
weekly basis. And in terms of who you look for, like I said, the ones who are most curious are usually the ones that do very, very well. Um, and how they interact with people. I mean, it could be very simple as being in a restaurant and you're being served by this waiter or waitress, and they're just phenomenal with people, right? And I've met some really good people in the service industry who went on to very successful sales careers because they're just very, very good with people. Or if you're going out purchasing something at a retail store, and you're dealing with a salesperson that is really, really good and very professional, that's something that you can do as well. And on the back of my business cards, I had a stamp made, and it was a stamp. It basically said, I'm impressed with your sales skills. If you're looking for a career change, call me. And if I met with somebody, a waiter, waitress, somebody who's in the retail business, car dealership, and I really liked the way they presented themselves, I would hand them my card, and I was able to get some good people that way. So like I said, as a sales leader, you need to be out there, you need to be looking and build your pipeline.
Yeah. Totally agree with you on all of that.
Yeah.
It's so important. And one of the things that we talk about, like even when I'm working with a new client, is before we start recruiting, is there anyone in your network that you know, right?
Yeah,
Like go to your network. Like you're networking with people you have, maybe even competitors or friendly competition or people that you know in your industry, or you're going to conferences. You should always be, networking and kind of keeping that pipeline open,
yeah, for
because
sure.
just like you said, recruiting is like sales. We actually recruiting we consider sales, because we are selling, opportunities to, to candidates on why they should join our clients. And
Yeah,
it's always building that pipeline, relationships and everything else. So always continually doing that is really important. And of course, you may, not have somebody in your network, and you may need to, go out and actually recruit or partner with an agency or something, but you should always be keeping up that network, because you
no, for
never know
sure.
who you'll find, and those are going to be some of the best people that you'll come across.
Yeah, but like I said, the key for sales leaders is to own it,
Yeah.
because it's your team, it's your business, right? Your objectives. So you should be out there on a regular basis, uh, just speaking with people, and you never know who you can run into.
Yeah, definitely. So Darren, tell us a little bit about your background, what you do, and where people can find you.
Okay, well, I started my sales career knocking on doors, 100% commission, selling security systems door to door. That was a great training ground, a great learning experience, and that led to other types of sales roles and progressive sales leadership roles in the security business. I've also been in distribution, and most recently, I was in the MRO industry, maintenance repair. And after a ton of business travel and the victim of some restructuring, missing family time, I decided to venture out on my own. I still wanted to be in sales. I still wanted to coach, but I really didn't know what services to provide or how to go about it. So I partnered with Sales Acceleration. They provide me with all the different tools that I need to help my client, and it's been a great partnership. And what I do is I work with business owners, founders, CEOs who wear all the hats, and they're struggling with stagnant or decline in sales. And what I do is I work with them to diagnose what the issues are, identify the gaps, and design and implement what I call a sales infrastructure, which involves everything from onboarding, compensation plans, leveraging technology that is out there, like we talked about, CRM, AI, and sales processes, sales playbooks. And often also I'm brought in to lead their sales teams because business owners and founders don't have the time or even the desire to do so. So I'll hold one-on-one coaching sessions, hold reps accountable. I can help in the recruiting of other sales team members. And then once the business starts to scale, then I'll have a conversation with the owner to say, okay, well, maybe it's time for a full-time sales manager. So I'll help in the recruiting of my replacement. So So it really depends on the needs of the business. Some businesses only need a sales infrastructure, some sales management, and some need both. So it
Mhm.
really depends on the needs of the business. And where I am, I'm located in Ottawa, Ontario, the nation's capital, up here in Canada. Been here for 26 years, originally from Montreal, and I work with folks all across the country and into the U.S. So it's been a fantastic journey so far.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Darren, for coming on Funnel Vision, and looking forward to continuing our chat sometime.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me. Thanks.
Thank you.